Hello, everybody, and welcome to this pre-event webinar for the China-European Marketplace 2025. I'll just let everybody spool in a little bit. I'm Aaron Wiltshire, Director of Commercial Operations at ETOA, and I'm joined today with my colleague Elisa, and we'll just take you through information useful ahead of our trip to China next month. So, as an introduction to what this will cover, we'll just do some brief introductions. We'll go through the kind of history and the background of this event, this year's event in numbers and the delegate profile, how to go through the preference process and some practicalities, including what's going to happen over the two destinations we're visiting and the cruise and ITB, etc., etc. So if you have any questions during this, please drop those in the chat and we will cover those at the end. Of course, we need to always remember our partners and sponsors. So we are always working in this event in collaboration with ETC, the European Travel Commission. Some of their members will be attending as suppliers, but they will also be holding a stand at ITB China. So all of our delegates, if they're not already exhibiting at the show, get access to that event in Shanghai the day after our Shanghai stop. So we'll be sharing information about how to make sure that you've got access in the coming weeks. And also our sponsors, HF Hotels and Strand Palace. We'll be hearing more about those when we get to China. But just as a reminder, there are still some sponsorship opportunities available if you'd like to make an additional splash to the buyers that we've got lined up. So as I said, I'm Aaron Wiltshire, joined today by my colleague Elisa Lee, who's our buyer recruitment manager, but a specialist in the China market as well. Elisa, do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Hello, my name is Elisa. I'm the person who recruits all the buyers for Beijing stop and the Shanghai stop. Thank you.
Super. And unfortunately, Lucy can't join us today, but the three of us will be the members of staff attending the program in China in May. So we'll get to know each other quite well. If you haven't already done so, please take a moment to scan this QR code if you're already on WeChat. If you've not been to China before, this will be an indispensable app to have on your phone. So make sure you download and try and set up in advance beforehand. And a really useful thing to do is try and get a card, a debit or credit card signed up to that. I think MasterCards are usually the cards that you can add to your WeChat app. And that really helps us facilitate communications and purchases once you're in China. So it really is a cashless society if you've not been before. So this will really transform your ability to get around and keep in touch. So this group, the code of which is on the screen, is dedicated to all the suppliers who are attending and will just help us keep in touch during our time in China. So as a background to ETOA, we are the trade association working for better tourism in Europe. We represent the supply chain in Europe, of which, so it's just suppliers on the line today, that you're part of that network, engaging in the key inbound markets to the European destinations. So as part of that, the China-European marketplace is actually the only one that we go to market for in-person events at this time. So that really shows the importance of this market. So if you're not already a member, please take a moment to kind of check out the opportunities that we've got within our network, and we're more than available to discuss membership opportunities either before or when we're in China itself. Bit of a history of how we got here. As I said, this is the only event that ETOA currently does in market. It really stems back from some European Commission funded projects and endeavours. Some of you may have been involved since the very beginning of this. So if so, you'll remember that from 2017 into 18, we did a series of events supported by various departments within the European Commission and European Union, kicking off with the preparations for the EU-China Tourism Year. And we did our very first event alongside the European Travel Commission in Shanghai, which was preparing for then the 2018 EU-China Tourism Year, which coincided with the project, the Partnerships in European Tourism, where we had events in, well, China-focused events, because there were some others, in Venice, Beijing, Berlin, Macau, London, Shanghai, and Chengdu. So again, some of you I definitely know joined us on those through that. And then as a follow-on, now run as a commercial endeavor by ETOA, we've had the China European Marketplace, which we managed to have one in-person edition in 2019 before what we know happened in the years after that, but we still serviced the market via our online events, returning to Shanghai in 23 and 24. As soon as the market opened up for outbound tourism, we went back to Shanghai, and then the promise that and the wealth of business that this market shows means that this year we are now kicking off in Beijing. So we've got two events, Beijing and Shanghai. Watch this space for the growth that we might be looking at for future editions in the future with some extra cities. So again, as I mentioned, we're really grateful for our partnership with ETC and ITB, just make the most of the opportunities, particularly when we're in Shanghai around the ITB China show. So in this context, a bit more about you. So this is some of the numbers of the suppliers that will be attending. As you can see, we've got quite a broad spread across Europe, mostly Western Europe, but you can't really see it. The very light blue, grey, in a more easterly directions, but we've got a very good spread of European destinations represented at this year's edition. Some of these are the registered addresses, so that they will DMCs and other pan-European suppliers that cover the whole of Europe as a destination. So that's one of the things that really sets SEM apart, is obviously as a European-wide inbound association, we're not just talking about a specific country that might be served by similar events by your national tourist boards, but this really brings together Europe as a whole, which we hope that reflects the way that visitors from China and other markets see Europe as a unified destination, perhaps on a regional or at least multinational basis. Then there's a breakdown as to the types of people who are joining us. We've got a good representation from the hotel segment as well as the visitor attractions. And then in this mix, you can see the second largest segment is the tour operator, which I would, in this case, combine with the DMC, the number there. So that's probably the largest number is inbound receptive, perhaps also China specialist, European DMCs or receptive intermediaries that are seeking to kind of convey their product to the Chinese agents and operators that we'll be seeing. So yeah, as I said, this is an overview of your cohort that will be coming to Beijing or Shanghai. There are some non-members amongst our number, so if you're a member and attending and you want to buddy up with some of the non-members, we'll be getting to know each other quite well, then do share the value of these events. Obviously, in the event-specific case, it is cheaper to attend the ETOA events as a member, but there's a plethora of other insights and opportunities as part of the wider network, depending on your business type and location. There's a lot more that we can offer just beyond the business networking. The breakdown of who's attending the two events. Some of you may be coming to both, some of you may be just doing Beijing or just doing Shanghai. I think we're just over 50 suppliers in Beijing, and then just shy of 70, I think it was just above 70 in Shanghai. Got a really great ratio to keep you busy during your meetings. So as you can see, they're quite tight with regards to the buyer-supplier ratio. So that's really promising across the B2B networking days, where you'll be matched based on the preferences. More of that in a minute. So I'll just hand over to Elisa slightly to talk about the buyer profile.
Hi, thank you, Aaron, for sharing this information to our delegates. I would like to add a bit flavor of the Beijing stop. Basically, 70% of the buyers are new to SEM, so it's a very good ratio to meet up for suppliers to meet up with new faces and the returning delegates. Majority of them are tour operators and wholesalers. A few of them are tailor-made agencies. And most of them are based in Beijing, and a few of them come from the neighboring city called Tianjin. Unfortunately, a majority of them they want to attend Beijing instead of Shanghai because they don't have time to come to ITB. So they are very happy that we have a new stop in Beijing. For Shanghai one, because it combined with ITB, that's why this year we have increased the numbers. Now, at this stage, I have 74 buyers come to Shanghai. So it's a very good number compared with last year, we have about 60. And some of them, they're based in Shanghai, some of them, they come from the neighboring cities, some of them from Chengdu, from Guangzhou, from north part of China, from Wuhan. So we covered a variety range of tour operators from China, which is good. And I would say this time in Shanghai, we have 40% new faces. So this is a very good number. And for destinations they are interested, majority of them are popular destinations in Europe. So it's a good ratio and a very balanced one. I hope you have a very good time in Shanghai and Beijing. Thank you.
Super, thanks, Lisa. And if you've already accessed the preference portal and seen the buyer profiles that we've supplied, you'll notice year on year that we've really sought to provide a lot more information at this stage of the characteristics and company profiles of the buyers attending, but more of that in a minute. So we have already launched the preference portal. If you've not been with us before, then I'll take you through a quick tour very shortly. So on there, you will see all of your relevant counterparts. We've created specific portals if you're coming to both events, if you're coming to only just one of the two stops that we've got. So you'll only be seeing the people that you're likely to be matched with. But as I said, more of that in just 2 moments. So you're working to the deadline of the 7th of May. Then we'll do an initial matching process. And just as a reminder, we take together the preferences submitted by the buyers and the suppliers. We take that in combination and create preference-based agendas. Then once we've done that and created your provisional appointments and done some quick spot checks just to make sure that we have a good provision and set of initial appointments, then we'll open up the platform in order for you to scoop up additional meetings for the meetings that are still available. So in the first round, based on your preferences. In the second round, you can book those directly with the people who still have availability. But given the ratio and the setup of the timeline for these 15-minute meetings, it is likely you'll be pretty busy on the 2 days or the 1 workshops that you're coming to. So we will then issue your final agenda. We'll lock those in. That will allow you to prepare whilst en route to China, but we'll also provide printed agendas on the day of the event. So you don't have to bring anything with you necessarily, but we will have agendas ready for you to follow during the day. As a reminder, the operators will be seated and the suppliers walk around following the agendas that we've set. In that case, I would really urge people to travel light. Obviously, those who are not based in China will be traveling over there. So I think it's all about the follow-up and keeping it simple and keeping it light because we don't want to be lugging too much stuff around. We really recommend that people really focused on the initial conversation and then work on the follow-up, providing the PDFs and presentations like that. So just very quickly then, I will give you a quick tour of the platform, if you bear with me. So I hopefully excuse the person whose agenda that I've picked up on here. They haven't made any access yet, so you won't see any of their preferences. This is the portal you'll have had access to. This person here is attending both events. The important guide that I was referring to just a minute ago is the delegate overview. And as you can see, for each buyer attending, we've got a profile of what they're doing, the company description, the websites, the telephone numbers, and at the bottom here, what they're looking for. So this maybe is a good side-by-side guide when you're doing your preferences. Each of these profile survey is available against the companies that will pop up on the profile. So some of them are still pending some information, but we've really strived to pick up as much information to help you make these preferences as much as possible. Telephone numbers are there. They may be available to connect via WeChat at the moment. We haven't published the email addresses on this version yet. We're very sensitive about doing that just purely because we have issues when we do this with email addresses with regards to people scraping this information and unfortunately phishing people for fake invoices. So as a reminder, that is why we don't typically publish the email addresses, but we will be able to help with that after the event itself. So do use this guide. As we said, when we get any additional buyers or top-ups, we'll be posting and publishing the newer versions on this page here. So this link will remain up to date. As a reminder of how to do the preferences, you'll get to this page. The really quick way of seeing the full list of the people that are applicable to you is just search, and you'll get the full list of people here. You'll see the company names, and you know that they correspond to the people that we just saw on that file. If you want to see them on an ad hoc basis, and I hope this doesn't take too long, you can see the individual version of those sheets there just as you go through. Quite an important thing for the people attending either one or both, particularly the people who are doing both. We are giving you 20 preferences, so the others have 10 each. We just request that you try and keep your it quite equal in terms of 5 and 5 for the two, 10 and 10 for the two events that you're doing. So that just allows us to manipulate it somewhat that your preferences then aren't full on Shanghai and empty for Beijing. So just make sure you've got a bit of an equal 10 on each side for the two event stops. We have provided some filters here, so you can select the business category that they are looking for, and then destination sort. Just take a moment to remind people what this is. This is just so you can filter buyers who are looking for the destinations that you provide. So for instance, I've just picked the UK. That means that these buyers are the ones that have said to us they're interested in product in the United Kingdom. But most of the buyers attending are Europe-wide, have Europe-wide interests. If not, they will be probably drawn out in their own preferences. So as I said, if you could do an initial version of this, your preferences now, and then probably return nearer to the 7th of May if possible, that will really help move things along with regards to the creation of your agendas. So on practical points, if you are joining with a 6-day package, then you'll be joining us on Thursday for your first night in Beijing. So this is only for the package people just in the first instance. What is included is your arrival transfer. So we should have already been in touch with regards to collecting your arrival time. You'll have a transfer provided from the airport in Beijing to the Kempinski Hotel where we're staying. Then we'll be straight into the B2B workshop on Friday. That's all day. There's nothing planned at the moment for Friday evening, but as a group, we'll probably be getting to know each other in the bar. But then if you're on the package, then on Saturday, we'll be going out for a full day excursion in Beijing and its surrounds. So really the top level highlights of Beijing, which is quite an exciting option for people who've not been to Beijing before. So that will be all day on Saturday, and obviously return back to the Kempinski where we'll be staying. On Sunday, we will be then traveling to Shanghai on the high-speed train. I think we'll still be collecting some of the information there, so we will be supported by a local tour operator who will be transferring us to the train station together from the Kempinski and helping us through the station. We have been asking, I think, for everybody's passport information. So if you've not traveled by high-speed rail in China before, we will be applying and booking these tickets on your behalf, and that is connected with your ID in this case, your passport number. So typically when then you arrive at the train station, you'll present your passport and a photo will be taken, and then those are combined to become your ticket. So we probably won't be having any physical ticket. So this is just to prepare people for what to expect if you've not done it before. As you go through the gates, the photo is taken, you're then in the station, and then when it's time to board the train, your face is your ticket. So you'll be scanned and then onto the high-speed train down to Shanghai, where we'll then be picked up, taken to the hotel, just to settle in and a quick turnaround, and then we'll be heading out to the welcome cruise for dinner on Sunday evening. So then we'll be joined by some other people who've not just been on the Beijing bit. Back to the hotel for hopefully a good night's sleep after quite a busy weekend, into the workshop in Shanghai, the Shanghai workshop on the Monday. Again, it's the same duration and time all day on the Monday. And then on Tuesday, we won't be providing any transfers for this, but we can help you make your way. I would always suggest taking the metro. That's the easiest and quickest way, particularly if you're trying to get there early. It's just a 5-10 minute walk from the DoubleTree, if that's where you're staying, to the metro line. And then I think it's just one stop onto ITB, but it really is the quickest and most convenient way of getting around, particularly if you're attending ITB. So ITB, the show is going on for the days, but I think as ETOA, we will only be there for day one. And in terms of the package that we're providing, that takes you up to a Wednesday departure. So if you've picked either the 3-day package in Beijing, then you get the first Beijing elements of that. If it's the Shanghai only bit, you'll join us from the dinner cruise onwards, and obviously the accommodation and transfers are included in there. Beijing is now completely full. We do have some workshop-only tickets available for the Shanghai stop. If you haven't bought a package and would still like to join us for the cruise, I will share the link shortly on here to book in a ticket. So that will be on this boat here. We'll hopefully be joined by, as I said, not only the people who've joined us for the package, all of the other attendees who've already arrived in China, the buyers, and maybe some of our partners from the other groups as well. So when it gets to ITB, as I said, they're a kind of a silent event partner in this, in terms that if you're not an exhibitor at the show, they offer an easy way of getting the access as a visitor to the show. So again, probably the other side of Easter, we'll be sending information around about how we'll get you registered for that. But we obviously have all your information. We'll just transfer that to the ITB organisers, and you'll have your access ready to go for the full days. As I said, I think the ETOA team will only be around for the first day, and then back to London for us. I'm not sure if we have any questions from the audience, but if you do, then do let us know. We're obviously available at Celestina, support@celestina.travel for any inquiries about your preferences or that process. And you should already be in touch with the team if you have any operational questions about how it works. But we remain at your disposal between now and when we leave for China. And I hope that was a useful summary. A video of this recording will be made available on the preference portal and sent to all the delegates in advance. So if I don't have any questions, we will see you in China, but do join the WeChat group and we'll be keeping in touch, and see you there. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.